everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the Easy English channel. I'm Olivia, your guide through the wonderful world of English.
And I'm Steve, here to dive deep with you into today's topic. You know, Olivia, today we're tackling a word that is absolutely essential for sounding natural and confident in English: would.
Yes, Steve, you hit the nail on the head. Would is just everywhere. If you can master how to use this one little word, your English will immediately sound so much more natural, so much more polite, and frankly, just more advanced. It really unlocks a lot of conversational power, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's one of those words that ESL learners sometimes struggle with because it has multiple uses, and it doesn't always translate directly. But don't worry at all. Today we're going to break it down into simple, easy-to-understand chunks, perfect for beginners or anyone who just wants to solidify their understanding. We'll give you clear examples, practical tips, and even a little practice session.
Let's get started. Fantastic. So let's kick things off with the first major use of would, and that's for making polite requests. This is probably one of the most common ways you'll hear and use it in daily conversation.
That's right. Think about it. When you need something or want someone to do something for you, politeness goes a long way, especially in English-speaking cultures. Instead of being direct, would softens your request beautifully. For instance, imagine you need help. Saying, "Help me," can sound a bit demanding, right?
Totally. It can sound a little blunt or even urgent in a way you might not intend. But if you say, "Would you help me?" it changes the entire tone. It becomes an invitation, a gentle inquiry, rather than a command.
Exactly. Or if you're offering something to a guest, instead of "Do you want some tea?" which is fine but a bit informal, you'd probably say, "Would you like some tea?" It just sounds so much more welcoming and respectful. It shows consideration for the other person.
So the key takeaway here is would makes your requests sound softer, kinder, and much more appropriate for most social situations. The basic structure is super simple. Would plus subject plus verb. So, would you open the door, please? Or, would you pass the salt? This is great for everyday conversations, ordering food, asking for directions, you name it.
And you can even go a step further with "would you mind," which is even more polite, like "would you mind closing the window?" But we'll stick to the simpler form for now. Just remember, whenever you need something from someone or want to make an offer, reach for would. It's your politeness superpower.
I love that. Politeness superpower. All right, moving on to our second big use of would. This one is really fun because it allows us to talk about things that aren't real right now. We use would for imaginary situations, dreams, hypotheticals, things that exist only in our minds or under certain conditions that haven't happened.
Yes, this is where would truly shines in the world of conditionals. We're talking about situations that are unlikely, impossible, or just not true in the present. For instance, if I said, "I would travel the world if I had more money," who wouldn't, right? But the reality is I don't have unlimited money right now, so traveling the world is imaginary for me at this moment.
Totally relatable. Or another classic example, if I were a teacher, I would help students every single day. In this case, I'm not actually a teacher, but I'm imagining what I would do if that were my reality. It's about envisioning a different possibility.
Precisely. The pattern here is often called the second conditional in grammar books, but let's keep it simple. It's if plus past tense, then would plus the base form of the verb. So, if I won the lottery, won is past tense, I would buy a big house. The winning hasn't happened, so the buying is hypothetical. It's a fantastic way to express wishes, dreams, or even give advice about what you would do in someone else's shoes.
It really opens up a world of possibilities for expressing complex thoughts. You could say, if I lived in a different country, I would learn a new language. Or, if I could fly, I would visit the moon. These are all about expressing an outcome dependent on an unreal condition. It's a powerful tool for imaginative thinking and communication.
Definitely. And it's important to remember that even though we use the past tense in the if clause, if I had or if I were, we're not talking about the past. We're talking about an imaginary present or future. This can be a bit tricky at first, but with practice, it becomes second nature.
Great point, Steve. That distinction is key. All right, moving on to our third incredibly useful application of would, talking about preferences. This is all about what you want or what you'd rather do.
Yes, this is incredibly common, especially when you're ordering food, making plans, or just expressing your desires politely. The most common phrase you'll hear is, I would like, which is a much politer way of saying, I want.
Exactly. So if you're in a coffee shop, you wouldn't typically say, I want a coffee. While it's understandable, it's not as polite. Instead, you'd hear, I would like a coffee, please. Or, even more commonly, you'd hear the contraction, I'd like a coffee. That's super natural and friendly.
That I'd like is absolutely essential for everyday interactions. And then there's would rather, which we use when we're making a choice between two or more options. For instance, I would rather stay home today implies that maybe there are other options like going out, but you prefer staying in.
Right. So if someone asks, do you want to go to the movies or stay home? You could respond, I'd rather stay home, thanks. It clearly expresses your preference in a very polite and natural way. It's concise and effective.
And you can even expand on would rather to compare two specific things. I would rather read a book than watch TV. It helps you articulate your choices very clearly. So, whether it's I would like for general desires or I would rather for specific preferences, would makes your choices clear and polite.
Simple and polite. And these are phrases you'll use constantly in daily life, so definitely commit them to memory. Now, let's do a quick practice round to help solidify what we've learned. I'll say a sentence, and I encourage all of you listening to repeat it after me, really focusing on that would sound.
Excellent idea, Olivia. Repetition is key for building muscle memory in language.
Okay, ready? First one. Would you like to learn English? Try it. Would you like to learn English? Great. See how that would you flows together?
Fantastic. Now let's try this one. This is about an imaginary situation or a preference. I would practice English every day. Go ahead. I would practice English every day. You know, if I had more time, that's exactly what I'd do.
Awesome job, everyone. Small steps every day truly make big progress. And that brings us perfectly into our motivation moment, because learning English or any new skill takes consistency.
It really does, Olivia. Learning English is a journey, not a sprint. There will be days when it feels challenging or you might feel a bit stuck, but please, please don't give up. Every single word you learn, every phrase you master, every time you understand a new concept like wood, you are building something incredible.
Absolutely. Think about it. Even dedicating just 10 minutes a day can completely change your future. Those small, consistent efforts compound over time into massive results. You're not just learning a language, you're opening up new worlds of opportunity, connection, and understanding. It's truly transformative.
Imagine this with me for a second. One day, maybe a year from now or 5 years from now, you'll be speaking English fluently, effortlessly, navigating conversations, maybe even traveling or working in an English-speaking environment. And in that moment, you will look back and say, with a genuine smile, I am so glad I didn't quit. I'm glad I kept going.
That's the feeling we want for all of you. You absolutely can do it. We believe in you, and we're here to support you every step of the way on your English learning journey. You've got this.
Thanks so much for joining us and listening intently here on the Easy English channel. We hope this deep dive into wood has been incredibly helpful.
If you enjoyed this episode, please keep practicing these new phrases, keep smiling through your challenges, and most importantly, keep learning. Every day is a chance to get a little bit better.
From both of us, Steve
And Olivia.
we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.